Chapter 91 Sea God Island, Seahorse Douluo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the deck of the Purple Pearl, everyone stared at a tiny black speck in the distance, hearts pounding. Finally, Poseidon Island. The captain approached, saying respectfully, "Masters, this is as far as we can take you. Beyond this point lies Poseidon Island's territory. Any ship entering that zone will be immediately attacked by the island's guardian beast, a 100,000-year-old soul beast. Be extremely careful crossing the sea. That beast is powerful and aggressive. Even deep-sea demon whales fear it." Ma Hongjun chimed in, "Hey, Captain, what is this guardian beast you keep talking about?" "It's a 100,000-year-old shark, the most ferocious kind, a demon soul great white shark." The captain's face was etched with fear. Every soul master in the sea knows the demon soul great white shark family represents the sea god. They're incredibly fast, impossible to escape. Ever since that guardian settled here, hundreds of demon soul great white sharks have gathered, creating a natural barrier. Ye Ming, after a long, hard look at the captain, said, "Give us a lifeboat. You can turn back now." The captain nodded, eager to comply. As the Purple Pearl turned around, the captain watched the lifeboat. The flattery vanished, replaced by a dark grin. "You don't even know the shark's habits, yet you think you can force your way onto Poseidon Island. Thanks for handing over the Purple Pearl pirates. When you die, I'll burn some paper in your memory. Purple Pearl, don't worry. These folks will be joining you soon. I'll carry on the legacy of the Purple Pearl pirate gang." Ye Ming, standing in the lifeboat, watched the captain in the distance. Suddenly, he flicked his wrist, and a sharp moon blade flew across the gap, slicing the captain's head off in an instant. A spray of blood marked the end of the captain, who fell heavily on the deck. "Yes." Ma Hongjun cheered, "I hated that guy." "Nice one, brother." Oscar and Tang San were puzzled. They exchanged glances. "Ye Ming, why? Didn't you say too much killing would upset the island's soul masters? Why do this?" Though respectful, that captain hit a key fact, Ye Ming explained. "Demon soul great white sharks are fiercely protective. Kill one, and you'll be swarmed. They're incredibly sensitive to blood. We'd be facing an attack by hundreds of 100,000-year-old demon soul great white sharks." That he looked at everyone calmly. "I don't need to spell out what happens when you're targeted by a vengeful, 100,000-year-old soul beast in the sea." Everyone inhaled sharply. "I can't believe that guy was setting us up." All smiles and deference. Ma Hongjun fumed, "If I'd seen through it, I'd have roasted him like a chicken." Oscar rolled his eyes. "Save it, fatty. With your alertness, you'd be dead from poisoning." He turned to Ye Ming. "So, do you have a way to get onto Poseidon Island?" Ye Ming looked at Tang San. "It's up to you. Your vast sea barrier is the key. The barrier can make us invisible and block external detection. If it holds, we can wait until the sharks are less active late tonight, then swim to Poseidon Island from underwater." Everyone looked at Tang San. Tang San summoned the barrier without hesitation. He looked at the faintly glowing blue shield. "This thing's been absorbing energy from the sea since we arrived. We're close to Poseidon Island. If Ye Ming is right, this could work." Tang San paused. "We need to test it. Can it withstand the pressure, move freely, and avoid detection?" That with everyone's lives at stake, Tang San couldn't take any chances. It was afternoon. Tang San activated the barrier and began experimenting. The testing lasted until nightfall. "It works," Tang San said excitedly. "It's like the barrier was made for the sea. It's far more effective here, and uses very little soul and mental power." Everyone was relieved. Late that night, Tang San activated the barrier, covering everyone, and they dove into the deep sea. Tang San had already mapped out the route. All they had to do was move forward to reach Poseidon Island. Traveling on the seabed was far more difficult than on land, the terrain rugged and mountainous. It was pitch black, so everyone relied on Tang San's mental detection to guide them. After a long trek, they felt the seabed rising. Poseidon Island was close. Suddenly, Tang San stopped. Hold your breath. Everyone froze. A massive white shadow glided silently 20 meters ahead, like a ghost, gone in a blink. A shark, over 10 meters long, perfectly streamlined, with a faint sheen on its white skin, impossibly fast. Demon Soul Great White Shark. The thought was shared by all. Only when the beast was gone did Tang San signal everyone to hurry toward Poseidon Island. Finally, the seabed turned to gravel, and their vision brightened. The dark depths were oppressive, filled with 100,000-year-old soul beasts. They'd been scared the whole time. Emerging from the water and seeing the light, everyone couldn't help but cheer. Poseidon Island was green, with many unfamiliar plants. They were about to face the challenge. After resting and replenishing their soul power, Tang San deactivated the barrier. As they emerged, a surprised and angry voice shouted, "Who's there?" 8 figures sprang from the nearby woods, blocking their path, wearing light yellow clothing. These men, about 30 years old, looked surprised. "We admire Poseidon Island and hope to pass Lord Poseidon's test and join you," Ye Ming said, clasping his fists. Tang San and the others watched silently. Ye Ming knew the most about Poseidon Island. He was the best choice for negotiation. The leader of the group frowned. "Soul Masters from the mainland, are you sure you want to take the test? It's notoriously difficult. Failure means death. It's good to be brave, but recklessness leads to a pointless end." Perhaps sensing Ye Ming's power and respect, the Soul Master spoke politely. Tang San, with Xiao Wu, stepped forward. "Now that we're here, we won't leave. Nothing can stop us from reaching Poseidon Island. We won't retreat because of a test." Dai Mubai and the others moved forward, showing their resolve. The man looked surprised. He nodded and whispered to a younger man in yellow, the words like strange buzzing sound waves, unintelligible. The young man responded and hurried away. The man then said to Ye Ming, "I hope you won't regret this. Come with me." After a long walk, they reached a pool of water. An island within the sea. The water churned without wind. In the center stood a triangular platform with a strange, cone-shaped stone pillar topped with a unique sculpture. Beneath the pillar sat a figure in black. The man activated his soul power and called out, "Lord Haima, mainland soul masters have come to take the test. Grant them permission." The man in black stood. 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 5 black soul rings emerged, pulsing slowly. "Mainland soul masters seek the sea god's test. You must cross the sea within the sea and reach the Seahorse sacred pillar to be qualified." As he spoke, a 10-meter-high light curtain rose from the pillar, completely enclosing the sea within the sea. The curtain prevented flight. Seahorse Douluo waved his hand, and the water surged into 10-meter-high waves, blocking the path forward. The water boiled, stopping everyone. Chapter 92 Poseidon Assessment Level. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Looking out at the crashing waves, everyone knew their first trial on Sea God Island was about to begin. Tang San reached for Xiao Wu's hand, but Dai Mubai stepped forward. "I'll go first." "White Tiger, manifest," he muttered, his body swelling, 6 soul rings flashing around him. Seahorse Douluo waved his hand, and the waves intensified, a 10-meter wall of water blocking their path. Dai Mubai's 3rd soul ring blazed, activating White Tiger King Kong transformation, further amplifying his already massive form. He roared, unleashing a blast of golden light. The White Tiger fierce light wave, that punched a hole in the wave. He then leapt, diving into the water with unmatched force. Enduring the violent currents, he plunged towards the seabed, aiming to resurface on the other side, much like when they first crossed the Sea God Island. Watching the churning sea, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't hide her anxiety. "Trust Dai Mubai," Tang San reassured her. He wouldn't charge in like that unless he had a plan. The yellow-robed sea soul masters on the shore watched Dai Mubai vanish beneath the thunderous waves, a smug look on their faces. The initial impression was land soul masters might not be all that special after all. Suddenly, a geyser erupted, slamming into the light barrier overhead. Dai Mubai, propelled by the surge, slapped his hands against the water's surface, using the momentum to land squarely in front of Seahorse Douluo. Seahorse Douluo nodded, his eyes showing a hint of admiration. "You possess the domineering soul power of a king. Breaking through my test with your third soul skill. Among land soul masters, you're a soul emperor level leader. Even more impressive is your youth. No wonder you dared come here. You are qualified to accept Lord Poseidon's test. Thank you, Dai Mubai replied, stepping aside to watch his companions. Tang San smiled, relieved to see Dai Mubai had made it safely. Alright, everyone, let's show this senior what we've got. Zhu Zhuqing shot forward like a shadow, netherworld stab cleaving through the waves, her lithe form weaving through the water like a spirit cat. Oscar used his soul bone skill to create a perfect clone, carrying Ning Rongrong on his back. After consuming a copy mirror sausage, they both plunged into the waves, amplified by Ning Rongrong's pagoda. His netherworld thrust propelled them forward with incredible speed. Bai Qinxiang spread her nimble wings, a white blur against the backdrop of the sea. Not to be outdone, Ma Hongjun unleashed his evil fire phoenix, following close behind Bai Qinxiang. Tang San, Xiao Wu, and Ye Ming were the only ones remaining. Tang San pulled Xiao Wu into a hug. Ye Ming, let's go. That the clear sky hammer materialized in his left hand. Using Ghost Shadow Mirage, he sprinted into the sea. Ye Ming opted for a simpler, more brutal approach. He exploded forward, relying solely on his raw physical power to cut through the waves. The raging water was nothing to him. Soon, the entire group had crossed the sea, landing steadily on the platform. Seahorse Douluo was visibly surprised. Dai Mubai's initial breakthrough had already impressed him. But the performance of those who followed, with the exception of Bai Qinxiang, the four-ring soul master, was even more astonishing. A food type and an auxiliary type soul master working together to overcome the waves and reach the holy pillar. The young man wielding the clear sky hammer, carrying another person, did it with ease. And most surprising of all, the youngest of them hadn't even used his martial soul, relying on brute strength alone to conquer the sea in the sea. These mainland soul masters were young, barely in their 20s. Yet, they possessed incredible soul ring configurations, and most had even reached soul emperor level. Given time, their potential was limitless. You've opened my eyes, Seahorse Douluo said, his face filled with genuine praise. Line up in order of arrival. You are all qualified to undergo Lord Poseidon's trials. Seahorse Douluo walked toward the Seahorse holy pillar, his eyes filled with reverence. One person, step forward. Everyone's heart pounded. The real test was about to begin. Dai Mubai stepped forward, stopping one step behind Seahorse Douluo. Seahorse Douluo raised his hands, his face etched with piety. A faint blue light emanated from his palms, growing stronger until it exploded outwards. A flash of light surged from the base of the Seahorse holy pillar, a blue glow racing up the lines of the pillar, almost reaching the top in an instant. Seahorse Douluo turned to face Dai Mubai, pointing his right hand at him. A beam of blue light descended from the sky, enveloping Dai Mubai. Dai Mubai, bathed in the light, looked puzzled, clearly feeling nothing. The color of the light began to shift, from blue to white, then to yellow, and finally to purple. The purple deepened, transforming into black. Seahorse Douluo's expression showed surprise. On the Seahorse holy pillar behind him, the lowest lines also turned black, slowly creeping upwards. The yellow-robed sea soul masters exchanged worried glances, sighing with regret. Suddenly, 6 black beams shot out from the Seahorse holy pillar, materializing as 6 square light screens in front of Dai Mubai. Each screen displayed shimmering golden words. Seahorse Douluo couldn't help but twitch, managing a bitter smile. 6 black level trials. 2 more than I received. Lord Poseidon, is this one considered a sinner? The 6 screens merged into 6 points of black light, sinking into Dai Mubai's forehead simultaneously. A black hexagonal star appeared on his brow. Dai Mubai seemed to understand something, his confusion replaced by a deep focus. Without a word, he stepped back, sat cross-legged, closed his eyes, and began to meditate. The black light on the Seahorse holy pillar faded, returning to normal. But Seahorse Douluo stared at Dai Mubai with a complex expression, as if looking at a condemned man. Tang San, sensing the gravity of the situation, asked, Senior, what exactly are the black level 6 trials? Can you explain them to us? Seahorse Douluo nodded slowly. The trials given by Lord Poseidon are ranked by difficulty. From lowest to highest, white, yellow, purple, black, and the ultimate red. The specific tasks appear in the light screens, visible only to the examiner and the examinee. I am your examiner. Passing different levels of trials grants corresponding authority on Poseidon Island. The assessment considers not just strength, but also potential. This is the will of Lord Poseidon. The white level consists of a single trial. Purple level can have 1 to 3. Black level has at least 4, and at most 6, the 6 black level trials I just mentioned. The 6 black level trials are the hardest of the black level. In the past century, only 7 out of 31 examinees have passed. Seahorse Douluo's face took on a look of nostalgia. I am one of the 7 survivors. The 7 of us are now the guardians of the 7 sacred pillars of Sea God Island. Among us, only the guardian of the Sea Dragon Sacred Pillar, Sea Dragon Douluo, passed the 6 black level trials. He is the strongest of us, and his soul power has surpassed level 95. Seahorse Douluo provided this detailed explanation as a warning. Failure to pass a black level test meant certain death. After hearing Seahorse Douluo's words, the group exchanged glances, but there was no sign of fear. Zhu Zhuqing stepped forward. Senior, I'm ready to accept my trial. Seahorse Douluo, surprised, activated the Seahorse Sacred Pillar. Black light reappeared, this time displaying 5 black lines, black level 5 trials. Seeing another black level trial, Seahorse Douluo marveled to himself. Oscar couldn't help but ask, Senior, if we pass these trials, besides gaining authority on Sea God Island, are there any other rewards? Gaining authority is the greatest reward, Seahorse Douluo said, smiling. Of course, the pressure of the trials will stimulate your own power, allowing for rapid growth. I believe that's why you came here. Oscar nodded. In that case, please administer my test. 6 black lights flashed again, and Oscar received the 6 black level trials. Next, when Ning Rongrong stood under the light of the holy pillar, a red light appeared, leaping over the black level and granting her the top 7 trials. Seahorse Douluo looked at Ning Rongrong with instant respect. There were no records of anyone failing the top 7 trials. Passing this test meant becoming the heir to the great high priest and the future leader of Sea God Island. Afterward, Bai Qinxiang and Ma Hongjun stepped forward. They received the first yellow level trial and the 6th black level trial, respectively. Bai Qinxiang, disappointed with her yellow level test, looked even more dismayed when she saw the content. Seahorse Douluo, as the examiner, could also see the details of the test. He looked at Bai Qinxiang, struggling to suppress a smile. Tang San handed Xiao Wu to Ning Rongrong, preparing for his turn. Chapter 93 Strange Light of Assessment. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Seeing Tang San step forward, Seahorse Douluo, still reeling from the earlier surprises, recomposed himself and activated the light of the sea god once more. A blue light flooded the area, engulfing Tang San. Strangely, the light didn't shift in color. Instead, it just intensified. This was new territory for Seahorse Douluo. He couldn't fathom why the blue light remained unchanged. Even the weakest soul master usually triggered at least a white level assessment, and this young man clearly possessed significant power. Then, just as everyone was puzzling over this, the blue light around Tang San divided. The split beams landed directly on Xiao Wu, who was clinging to Ning Rongrong's arm. The blue light pulsed, gently pushing Ning Rongrong away and drawing Xiao Wu to Tang San's side. This strange scene immediately sparked concern from Oscar and the others. With her soul gone, how could Xiao Wu possibly complete any assessment? Even a simple white level one seemed impossible. At that moment, Tang San remained bathed in unchanging light, but on Xiao Wu, the color shifted rapidly from white to yellow, purple, and black. The black didn't linger, immediately transforming into a stunning crystal red. Tang San felt a surge of worry, but he couldn't halt the spread of the red light. A red curtain of light bloomed before Xiao Wu, then condensed into a single point of red, settling on her forehead. Simultaneously, the light around Tang San shifted too. His light catapulted through the spectrum, blue, white, yellow, purple, black, the colors almost blurring as they morphed one into the next. The black light instantly surged to blood red and rocketed toward the peak of the Seahorse holy pillar. A sound, like a combined shout and sob, echoed from the holy pillar, followed by a blood-red beam, 10 times more intense than the red Xiao Wu had triggered, blasting into the sky. The inner sea churned as if boiling, sending massive waves skyward, releasing a thick mist of blue light. Then, from 6 other points on Sea God Island, 6 colossal blood-red pillars erupted, joining the central beam in the heavens and coalescing into a radiant golden light. The moment the golden light appeared, the entire Sea God Island was bathed in gold. Next, 9 golden light curtains materialized before Tang San, instantly transforming into golden meteors that merged into his brow. On his forehead, a golden trident symbol appeared. Tang San instinctively touched his now smooth forehead. So, red is the top assessment. What's this golden assessment, senior? It looks like I have to complete 9 assessments to pass. Seahorse Douluo shook his head, baffled, then scrutinized Tang San, the trident brand on his forehead shimmering with brilliant gold. I have no idea, Seahorse Douluo admitted, struggling to find his words. Tang San, bewildered, looked at Seahorse Douluo, then hugged Xiao Wu. And what about her? Seahorse Douluo gave Tang San a searching look. Why did the top test even appear? I can't explain it. But I can tell you what challenge she's facing. While she only has 1 test, its difficulty is definitely on par with a top-level assessment. Her test is to stay by your side and complete your 9 trials. Hearing Seahorse Douluo's words, Tang San felt relieved. If he could help Xiao Wu, that was all that mattered. It was far better than her facing the trials alone. Tang San touched his head, feeling the mark there was unlike the marks on Ning Rongrong's forehead. A little worried, he asked Seahorse Douluo hopefully, Senior, really think hard. What was that golden light? Am I facing the ultimate 9 tests? Just as Seahorse Douluo was about to speak, a serene voice drifted in from afar, sounding heavenly, beautiful, kind. Don't pressure him. This is unprecedented since Sea God Island came to be. You aren't facing the top 9 tests, you're facing the 9 trials of the Sea God. The air in front of them seemed to shimmer, and a moment later, another figure stood beside Seahorse Douluo. She wore a bright red robe, her long, sea-blue hair cascading down her back. Her gentle face looked no older than 30, her beauty enhanced by an aura of nobility. In her right hand, she carried a 3-meter-long scepter. The scepter was golden, etched with magical patterns. The scepter's head was a diamond-shaped protrusion like a spear, with a diamond-shaped golden gem inlaid 5 inches below the spear's tip. Greetings, High Priestess. Seahorse Douluo bowed slightly. I have failed to fulfill Lord Sea God's instructions. Please punish me. The red-robed woman smiled faintly, and the sea seemed to ripple in response. It's not your fault. This is new to me, as well. Her gaze locked onto Tang San. Young man, I've waited over a century. Finally, in my twilight years, I've found you. Excellent, excellent. I believe you can complete Lord Poseidon's trials. She turned her attention to Seahorse Douluo. Oh yeah, listen to my command. These 9 individuals are to be treated as VIPs on this island until they complete the trials of Lord Poseidon. No one is to neglect or offend them. Aside from directly helping them with the trials, fulfill their requests as much as possible. Gather the other 6 and have them meet me in the Poseidon Temple tomorrow to discuss this. Bo Saishi looked at Tang San again, her expression turning serious, releasing a terrifying aura. Remember this, never entertain the thought of failure. Your assessment is tied to Sea God Island's very survival. Should you fail, the consequences will be far worse than mere death. As the words faded, a red flash blinded everyone, and Bo Saishi, the Sea God High Priestess, vanished. Whoa, everyone gasped. She's too powerful. Just the aura she was giving off, I felt like I was about to be crushed. Oscar said, still shaken. The others nodded in agreement, only Ye Ming stared at the space where Bo Saishi had disappeared, lost in thought. Then, everyone's eyes turned to him. Ning Rongrong blurted out excitedly, 3rd brother's test is incredible. I wonder if Brother Ye Ming's test will bring any other changes. That everyone, including Tang San, looked at Ye Ming expectantly. They all felt that Ye Ming was the strongest among them. This test is affected by strength and potential, so what kind of test will Ye Ming take? Oscar clapped his hands and said, will there be another Sea God 9 tests? If that's the case, will the great priest appear again? Ma Hongjun said excitedly, I don't think so. After all, the great priest appeared and disappeared just now. If this happens again, wouldn't it be a loss of style? That when these words came out, Seahorse Douluo's face turned red, and just as he was about to speak, a sea blue hand suddenly appeared in the sea next to him. This sea blue hand instantly appeared in front of Ma Hongjun, grabbed him, and threw him directly into the sea. In the sky, the voice of the great priest Poseidon came slowly. Little fatty, I haven't gone far yet, I won't do it again. Dai Mubai and others looked at Ma Hongjun jumping in the sea and laughed. Ha ha ha, you fat guy, I told you to have a foul mouth. It's retribution. Ha ha ha, that even Tang San couldn't help but smile when he saw this scene. At this time, Seahorse Douluo said, the great priest controls the sea god island and can detect everything. He looked at Ye Ming with some curiosity and said, come on, I want to see what kind of surprise you can give. At this time, Seahorse Douluo's heart had been numb by the stimulation of the group of people in front of him. He felt that no matter what happened again, he would not be surprised. Among the 9 people, the one who interested him the most was Ye Ming. Until now, he still didn't know what level Ye Ming's strength was. Seeing this, Ye Ming slowly came to the Seahorse holy pillar and bowed slightly to Seahorse Douluo. Senior, thank you for your help. At this time, he was in a complicated mood. Ye Ming knew that Tang San was able to obtain the 9 tests of Sea God because he was the heir to the throne appointed by Sea God. He understood this when he first obtained the vast sea universe cover and made it recognize the master. As for himself, he failed to get the recognition of the vast sea universe cover, so at this time, he didn't know what kind of test he could get. It must be a top test. He took a deep breath and stood in front of the Seahorse holy pillar. Seeing this, Seahorse Douluo stopped talking and directly activated his soul power to launch the 8th Sea God light today. The blue light enveloped Ye Ming, but the light did not change. This scene was very similar to the previous time when Tang San obtained the 9 tests of Sea God. Seahorse Douluo's heart tightened. Could it really be another 9 tests of Sea God? Ning Rongrong and others also stared at Ye Ming, not wanting to miss any details. At this moment, the blue light burst out instantly, directly covering the entire island. This scene was even more gorgeous than the one with Tang San. Then, a huge blue light shot up from the Seahorse holy pillar and disappeared into the clouds. Ma Hongjun climbed up to the high platform from the sea in the sea, and asked Seahorse Douluo in surprise, Senior, what's going on? Do you know? Seahorse Douluo stared at Ma Hongjun with a pair of eyes, as if there was a substantial murderous aura flowing. Ma Hongjun shrank his head and jumped directly into the sea with a plop. At this time, the blue light column in the sky changed again. Chapter 94 Ye Ming's Assessment Level, The God's Choice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The blue light that had shot straight up turned into a glimmer of gold rising from the base of the Seahorse holy pillar. Almost instantly, that golden light wasn't just rising, it flooded the entire pillar. Then, every trace of blue became gold. The blue column of light transformed into a golden one, bathing the island in a golden glow, and then 6 more golden pillars shot skyward. Seahorse Douluo stared, wide-eyed at the unbelievable sight. As the sea god's guide, he felt like a failure. He'd never witnessed anything like the spectacle Ye Ming had unleashed. It was even more magnificent than Tang San's Sea God 9 trials. Strangely, the Seahorse holy pillar didn't display the test level. The 7 golden columns just kept blasting into the sky. Holy moly, what kind of test is this, Ye Ming? This golden light is insane. Dai Mubai exclaimed, standing beside Zhu Zhuqing. Oscar put it bluntly, I'm betting this is just as big as Shao San's Sea God 9 trials, if not bigger. Just visually, Ye Ming's golden light is way more epic. Ning Rongrong nodded in agreement. Either way, Ye Ming's test is definitely higher than mine. Ma Hongjun, who'd finally hauled himself onto the platform, glanced at Seahorse Douluo with a grin, sidled up to the group, and whispered, well, duh. It's Ye Ming. He's the strongest, the youngest, this is perfect for him. Tang San nodded, agreeing wholeheartedly. Holding Xiao Wu's hand, he smiled and said, honestly, nothing my brother does surprises me anymore. If a bunch of gods showed up wanting him as their heir, I'd think it was totally normal. If this whole thing was just kind of meh, that's when I'd be weirded out. Dai Mubai and the others emphatically agreed. Ye Ming standing in their eyes had reached legendary levels. Meanwhile, bathed in golden light, Ye Ming looked completely bewildered. He had no clue why this was happening. Logically, Tang San had already gotten the Sea God 9 trials, so he should be getting maybe the 7th or 8th, but this scene was way off. Seeing the same confusion in Seahorse Douluo's eyes, Ye Ming gave up on asking him. The Seahorse Douluo probably knew less than he did. All they could do was watch the golden light blaze into the sky. The God realm oversaw the Douluo Continent, the 5 Elements Continent, the Vast Continent, the Yangon Continent, and countless other lower realms, filled with incredible energy. The God realm was only open to gods who had earned a throne and ascended. Within the God realm committee, made up of 5 god kings, managed the realm and monitored the lower worlds. Inside the committee chambers, a giant sphere of light emitted a soft glow in the center of the hall. 5 gods sat around a table, gazing at the sphere, their faces bored. Suddenly, a golden beam of light erupted from the sphere, bathing it in brilliance. The change immediately grabbed the gods' attention. Hey, that's coming from Douluo Star. Shura, what's going on over there? A handsome man in black with sinister eyes leaned forward and asked. God Shura waved his hand, dimming the sphere's light. 2 interesting guys popped up. One is my chosen successor, and the other is kicking up a storm with the sea god's legacy. He snorted. That sea god, so picky. He skipped this kid and tried to steal my successor. Now the kid's causing this huge spectacle with his inheritance. I want to see what he does next. Just then, a figure in a sea blue robe entered the chamber. He walked straight to God Shura and clapped him on the shoulder. Oh come on, are we still on that? If you hadn't decided you wanted to go gallivanting outside the God realm, would I even have been looking for an heir with you? God Shura just grunted. The sea god straightened his clothes and gave a slight bow to the others. Sea god, greetings to the 4 god kings. The goddess of life and kindness smiled gently, but the god of evil said with a hint of mischief, looks like you 2 cooked up this whole thing to ditch the god realm. He looked at the sea god. What are you going to do with that kid on Douluo Star? I've been watching him, actually. I think he'd be a good fit as your successor, evil god king, the sea god said with a bow. You'll see when you check him out. The evil god king perked up. He glanced at the goddess of kindness, carefully concealed, and sent a sliver of his divine sense into the sphere of light. He instantly pulled back and clapped his hands together. What a fascinating kid. I like his style. No room for love, only self-interest. He touched the center of his brow, and a black-purple light shot into the sphere and vanished. The goddess of kindness frowned slightly. Evil, that was a bit hasty. Love exists in everyone's heart. You unleashed some evil legacy. What about Ji Dong and Lai Yen? The evil god waved his hand dismissively. Goodness, I don't buy into love. Our bet hasn't started yet. And I don't think Ji Dong's nearly as good as this kid. If you want to change my mind. The evil god grinned. Pick your own heir, then we'll go down to the lower realms to reincarnate. If you can make me feel love, then you win, and I'll grant you anything you want. The kind goddess chuckled. Deal. The evil god king looked at the sea god. I'll use your setup for this test, since I'm too lazy to make my own. The sea god bowed. Be my guest. The destruction god king took the goddess of life's hand and sighed, defeated. You too. Ugh. 0.7 golden beams shot up into the air, reflecting off each other. The light not only illuminated Sea God Island but also turned the surrounding ocean golden for miles. Countless sea soul masters nearby knelt toward Sea God Island, hailing the Lord Sea God's miracle. On the Seahorse Holy Pillar platform, Dai Mubai and the others sat around, bored, watching Ye Ming, who was still cross-legged under the pillar, bathed in golden light. "Senior Seahorse, what's happening?" Ma Hongjun scratched his head. "We've been here forever. Why is Ye Ming still getting all this golden light? Did Lord Poseidon leave town or something?" Seahorse Douluo's face flushed. He glared at Ma Hongjun, then threw up his hands. "Don't look at me. I didn't even know what to make of Tang San's test level, let alone this. The Seahorse holy pillar is still lit up, so the ceremony's still going. We just have to wait." Ma Hongjun sidled over to Bai Qinxiang and shrugged. "Waiting it is." Everyone got ready to meditate, but Ning Rongrong suddenly exclaimed, "Look! Something's happening!" Instantly alert, everyone looked where Ning Rongrong was pointing. Above the 7 golden pillars that reached into the clouds, a black-purple light had suddenly appeared. The black-purple light began to taint the golden pillars, cascading downward. Sensing the change, Ye Ming jumped to his feet, watching the sky. The moment he stood up, the black-purple light reached the holy pillar, then 9 black-purple patterns lit up on the Seahorse holy pillar and morphed into 9 light curtains in front of Ye Ming. Before anyone could read the words on the light curtains, they plunged into Ye Ming, forming a finger-sized, black-purple scale mark on his forehead. The scale mark flickered, looking distinctly sinister. "Evil 9 trials." Ye Ming absorbed the information and let out a sigh of relief. The throne of the evil god king. Talk about a stroke of luck. He'd been expecting maybe the 7th or 8th trial, which would still have boosted his strength. Instead, triggering the sea god's test had somehow gotten the evil god king to hand down his inheritance trial. By now, Tang San and the others had gathered around him, staring at the scale mark on his forehead. Ning Rongrong looked at Ye Ming, then at Tang San, then touched her own forehead with a sigh. "Your marks are so cool. Why couldn't I get a special mark?" Oscar looked at Ning Rongrong and said, "Yours is awesome. I don't even like mine." Tang San looked at Ye Ming, rubbed his chin, and said, "I don't think my brother's assessment has anything to do with the sea god." He turned to Seahorse Douluo. "What do you think, senior?" Seahorse Douluo took a deep breath, paused for a long moment, and said, "I have no clue." If the high priest hadn't told him that these people were honored guests of Poseidon Island, he'd have shown them what a title Douluo was. He turned away, trying to maintain his composure. Why does that kid's mark give off such an evil vibe? Seahorse Douluo wondered. Could this be part of Lord Poseidon's plan? The air in front of them shimmered, and the high priest Poseidon, holding his golden scepter, appeared once again. Chapter 95 God-Given Soul Ring, Ye Ming's 7th Soul Ring. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. After Bo Saishi materialized, he zeroed in on Ye Ming. Anyone else might have averted their gaze, intimidated by Bo Saishi's power and status, but Ye Ming remained calm. So what if he was an extreme Douluo? He wouldn't live forever. Eventually, he'd just be dust. Bo Saishi couldn't read Ye Ming's mind. He studied the mark on Ye Ming's forehead for a long moment, then smiled. "This is all part of Lord Poseidon's plan. Just keep pushing yourself." Ye Ming nodded. "Thank you, Lord Poseidon." Bo Saishi returned the nod and turned his attention to Ma Hongjun. Ma Hongjun, looking sheepish, chuckled. "I know, I messed up. Little fatty, I'm here to give you a leg up," Bo Saishi said with a small smile. "Have a seat." Ma Hongjun instinctively glanced at Ye Ming and Tang San. Tang San gave him a quick nod, signaling him to go ahead. If Bo Saishi wanted them out of the way, he could snuff them out with a snap of his fingers. Why bother with theatrics? Ma Hongjun sat down, crossing his legs on the ground. After seeing Ye Ming's nod as well, Bo Saishi observed the exchange, then calmly looked at Ye Ming and Tang San. He raised his right hand, revealing a golden orb. It looked like it had been carved from the purest gold crystal, perfectly clear and without a flaw. What set it apart was the layer of faint golden mist swirling inside, just like the golden light surrounding Ye Ming and the others during their trials. Bo Saishi gave a gentle wave, and the golden orb floated from his hand, hovering above Ma Hongjun's head. With a flick of his fingers, a quiet pop sounded, and the golden orb shattered, a thick golden mist pouring down, enveloping Ma Hongjun. Bo Saishi explained, anyone who's passed a black level or higher test from Lord Poseidon gets a shot at a God-given soul ring when they hit their first cultivation bottleneck. You don't have to hunt down soul beasts. God-given soul rings give you the soul skills you need most and the highest level soul ring your body can handle. Everyone only gets one chance. Little fatty, pay close attention and give it everything you've got to withstand the God-given soul ring's baptism. That's how you'll reap the greatest rewards. God-given soul ring. The Shrek 7's eyes went wide, Tang San's included. Tang San had always thought of gods as just stronger spirit masters, but could a spirit master actually create something like a God-given soul ring? Wouldn't that mean the stronger you are, the more you stand to gain? They were on Poseidon Island, and sea soul beasts didn't always mesh with every spirit master. Too bad everyone only got one shot. Ye Ming felt a twinge of curiosity. He'd inherited the test from the god of evil. Would this God-given soul ring come from the god of evil, or was it from Bo Saishi? As if sensing Ye Ming's questioning gaze, Bo Saishi said softly, the same goes for you. Thanks, Ye Ming said with a slight smile, is there enough juice in this God-given soul ring? If the maximum it can handle outstrips the energy stored in this bead. Before Ye Ming could finish, Bo Saishi chuckled, the power of a god is beyond your grasp. Lord Poseidon provided this golden orb. There's enough energy in it for you to absorb 1,000,000-year soul ring. Could you even manage that much? Ye Ming shook his head, looking disappointed. Not yet. Bo Saishi was caught off guard, staring at Ye Ming with renewed interest. He could sense that Ye Ming had hit the level 70 bottleneck and knew his physical strength was off the charts. But he couldn't tell how many years of soul ring energy he could handle, even as an ultimate Douluo. Thousands of years of established rules about soul ring age were ingrained in Bo Saishi's mind. No matter how strong Ye Ming was, absorbing an 80 or 90,000-year soul ring for his 7th would be considered groundbreaking. Could he really absorb the energy of a 100,000-year soul ring? Bo Saishi shook his head and laughed, dismissing the idea as impossible. Even he only got a soul ring over 100,000 years old for his 9th soul ring. Meanwhile, Ma Hongjun was on the verge of collapse. The intense pain had brought beads of oily blood to his skin. As the Shrek 7's weakest member, Ma Hongjun had been feeling more and more inadequate. He'd watched Tang San and Ye Ming barely survive attacks from the King of Slaughter and the deep-sea demonic whale king, but he hadn't even been able to join the fight. This was a major blow to his self-esteem as the inheritor of the Phoenix spirit. He still remembered the helplessness he felt when Bai Qinxiang was about to be violated on Black Pearl Island. The golden light on his body had been transformed for what felt like centuries, turning into rings of black energy swirling around him. Finally, the rings of black light coalesced into a massive black halo, slowly shrinking towards his body. His 5 original soul rings were shining brighter than ever. A loud phoenix cry echoed out as the fiery phoenix behind Ma Hongjun seemed to solidify, becoming a real phoenix. Golden red flames nearly engulfed his body. The phoenix fire's shadow in the air contracted into a 3-meter wingspan fire phoenix, soared once around, then dove into his body. Instantly, Ma Hongjun's clothes turned to ash. He let out a roar, and the fat on his body seemed to shrink as if it had been burned off, leaving him thinner than before. 6 soul rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 2 black, floated neatly around him. Ma Hongjun snapped to attention and quickly bowed to Poseidon. Thank you for your help. Poseidon had turned away before Ma Hongjun's flames died down. Hearing his voice, Poseidon waved his right hand, and a wave of blue water rose from the sea, scooped up Ma Hongjun, and tossed him into the water. Ha ha ha. Good job, fatty. Dai Mubai and Oscar burst out laughing from the shore. Ma Hongjun felt the water's coolness against his skin. He realized Ning Rongrong, Zhu Zhuqing, and Bai Qinxiang had already turned away. His clothes were gone. Ma Hongjun screamed and ducked under the water. Poseidon turned and faced Ye Ming, conjuring another golden orb in his hand. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Ye Ming nodded slightly and sat down, crossing his legs. Poseidon remained silent, tossing the golden orb over his head and shattering it with a snap of his fingers. Ye Ming braced himself. With a flick of his wrist, he summoned the dark golden clear sky hammer spirit. Purple, purple, black, 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 orange gold, 6 strange and terrifying soul rings floated up from beneath Ye Ming, moving slowly around him. The instant they saw Ye Ming's 6 soul rings, Poseidon and Seahorse Douluo froze in shock. How is that possible? Seahorse Douluo rubbed his eyes, looked again, and saw the 6 soul rings still radiating an eerie light. He looked at Poseidon and saw the same stunned expression on his face. Even this extreme Douluo had never seen a soul ring composition like that. Seahorse Douluo felt like this group of kids had already shocked him to his core, but apparently, the surprises weren't over. He had thought they had the best ring ratios, but after seeing Ye Ming's 6 rings, he realized what a real super ring ratio was. Seahorse Douluo swallowed hard and couldn't help asking Poseidon, "Great Priest, any idea how old that orange gold soul ring might be?" Poseidon took a deep breath, calmed himself, and answered slowly, "According to the Sea God Temple's records, 100,000 years is the limit for a soul beast. After that, they face a celestial tribulation. Those who survive it live long lives. We call them ferocious beasts. Rumor has it that the soul ring of a 200,000-year-old ferocious beast changes color. It usually has a red background with 2 golden lines. One more golden line gets added for every 100,000 years. Once it hits the million-year mark, it turns completely gold." He frowned. That kid's soul ring must be a special one made by a 200,000-year-old beast, causing that odd color. Seahorse Douluo gasped, 200,000 years. No wonder he's so strong. Poseidon inwardly sighed. No wonder he had asked if there was enough energy in the golden orb. If his 6th soul ring was already 200,000 years old, how powerful would his 7th be? Even Poseidon, who had lived over a century, was curious. Like everyone else, he focused his attention on Ye Ming. As soon as Ye Ming summoned the clear sky hammer spirit, a strand of golden thread descended from the mist above, wrapping around Ye Ming, and began to constrict. Tang San and the others didn't react to this, but when Ma Hongjun saw it, his face paled in horror. Ye Ming's starting point was actually where Ma Hongjun's 6th had ended. He'd strained every muscle in his body to hang on to the very end, managing to get a soul ring close to 50,000 years old, but Ye Ming was starting there. Where would he end up after absorbing this God-given soul ring? Tang San's heart raced, a realization dawning on him. They might be about to witness something that would rewrite the history of the Soul Master world. Chapter 96: The Terrifying 7th Soul Ring Lifespan. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The golden thread wrapped around Ye Ming, and he was absorbing the energy like a vacuum cleaner. 6 terrifying soul rings flashed around him. When Ma Hongjun absorbed his God-given soul ring, blood oozed from his body. But for Ye Ming, the energy couldn't even push him to his limit. Absorbing the Red King's 290,000-year-old soul ring had already given Ye Ming a massive physical boost. Then, refining the 4th turn copper skin iron bone goo and diamond tendon goo further tempered his body, raising his physical toughness to an insane level. 100,000-year soul ring is usually only manageable for a soul Douluo advancing to title Douluo, but Ye Ming's physique already surpassed that of a title Douluo while he was still a soul emperor. He could probably handle a 400,000-year soul ring at this point. As the energy poured into Ye Ming, the thin golden thread turned into a finger-thick golden beam in seconds. These beams wrapped around him, radiating intense soul power. Poseidon could clearly track the energy depletion within the golden beads. He's already absorbed over 100,000 years worth of energy, and it hasn't even been a minute. She was stunned. His physical strength is unreal. He's like some kind of human tank. Seahorse Douluo felt a twinge of envy. When he got his own God-given 7th soul ring, he pushed himself to the limit and only managed to get a 60,000-year one, and this kid was sucking up more energy in a few breaths than he got in total. Tang San and the others were green with envy too. Ye Ming was the youngest, practically the same age as Bai Qinxiang, but right now, even Tang San, with Xiao Wu's 100,000-year sacrifice soul ring, couldn't hold a candle. To him, Tang San felt a mix of emotions. Ever since they met at Haotian sect, he'd liked this cousin of his. He even promised to find Ye Ming after leaving, to show him the world and the thrill of the continent. Now, their positions were totally reversed. Tang San knew that even using all his tricks, he probably couldn't beat Ye Ming anymore, but he was happy too. Having such a strong friend meant their revenge was practically guaranteed. The golden beam intensified, pouring energy into Ye Ming. Soon, it was equivalent to 200,000 years. And Ye Ming didn't even flinch. The beam had swollen to the size of an arm, swirling around him. Ye Ming's body was like a black hole, swallowing energy like crazy. As time went on, Ye Ming started to sweat. He's past 300,000 years now. Poseidon's blue eyes widened in disbelief. She knew Ye Ming was strong, and that his sixth soul ring was crazy powerful, but at the limit, every extra drop of energy exponentially increased the pressure. If his body couldn't handle it, he'd explode. Ning Rongrong and the others clenched their fists, knuckles white, silently cheering him on. The energy kept flowing, the years absorbed kept climbing. 310,000 years, 320,000. 370,000. Ye Ming started trembling, sweat beading on his skin. As the energy passed 400,000 years, his left palm bone glowed. The dark gold Terror Claw Bear external soul bone gave him a little extra leeway. Now, blood trickled down his body, shimmering gold in the light. 430,000 years. Poseidon looked at Ye Ming, her shock replaced by admiration. His willpower, his insane endurance, surpassed even hers. More and more blood coated Ye Ming, merging into a layer of crimson gold. From afar, it looked like he was wearing golden and blood-red armor. His right arm bone shone, and in a place unseen, his tailbone glowed as well. As the energy drained, Poseidon's breathing became heavier. She could sense Ye Ming's absorption rate slowing. He's almost at his limit. He's absorbed 490,000 years worth. Poseidon sighed. He's going for 500,000. Her voice was full of awe. Tang San and the others watched Ye Ming, hearts pounding. Ning Rongrong and the others saw his struggle and remembered everything he was fighting for, tears welling up. Ye Ming's been through so much. He's just a kid. Ning Rongrong sobbed. Oscar hugged her. He's our brother. We have to believe in him. He'll come out of this stronger than ever. Suddenly, 5 orange gold halos appeared around Ye Ming, and a massive red soul ring materialized in his 7th slot. As the red ring appeared, the halos dove into it. 5 golden lines appeared on the ring. Boom! A wave of power erupted from Ye Ming, sending Tang San and the others staggering back. Only Poseidon and Seahorse Douluo stood firm. His aura is skyrocketing. Seahorse Douluo exclaimed. He jumped 7 levels to become a level 77, Soul Saint. How much power was he sitting on? Poseidon was shocked too. The higher you got, the harder it was to level up. Soul rings usually boosted skills and broke bottlenecks. The extra energy would improve strength and soul power. Even a 500,000-year ring shouldn't have done this. What a monster! Poseidon exclaimed. I'll appear again when you hit your next bottleneck. She tapped her scepter, warping the space in front of her, and vanished. The others barely noticed, too focused on Ye Ming bathed in golden and red light. Ye Ming opened his eyes, a sharp light flashing. He stood tall, and the Dinxian Yugu on his shoulder fluttered its wings before settling back down. Ha! Ye Ming exhaled, feeling the power surging through him, a wave of joy washing over him. All that planning, and I finally broke through with this God-given ring. Things are about to get interesting. He glanced at Tang San and the others, his eyes like deep pools, impossible to read. Ye Ming's soul foundation was now strong, and he instantly weighed his options. Tang San's usefulness was dwindling. His clear sky hammer only had 2 slots left, and the rings from Xiao Wu, a 100,000-year beast, weren't worth it anymore, though. It should be mentioned that out of the 4 skills from Xiao Wu's rings and bones, 3 could be considered borderline god tier. It made his decision difficult. In terms of leveling up, the 10 great beasts and the deep-sea demon whale king would be more of a benefit. Tang San had the attention of the sea god and Shura god, and his current methods weren't enough for a one-shot kill. His assessment still had to be done on Sea God Island, so it wasn't time to improve his Gu Master qualifications yet. Ye Ming looked toward Sea God Mountain, restraining his aura and smiling warmly at everyone. Sorry for worrying you all. Dai Mubai and Oscar rushed over and playfully punched him on the shoulder. Dude, you're insane. A 500,000-year soul ring, Oscar said enviously. Your fighting power must have exploded. He was about to ask Ye Ming to demonstrate the weapon's soul real body, but he noticed Ye Ming's face darken. If I could, I'd trade this power for the resurrection of my family at the Haotian sect. Ye Ming sighed, a hint of sadness in his voice. Oscar and Dai Mubai went quiet. Tang San walked up, putting a hand on Ye Ming's shoulder, and said seriously. If the ancient books say that those who reach the level of title Douluo will have the chance to revive Xiao Wu, then shouldn't an even higher level give us the chance to revive our family as well? You're going through the same trials as me, you know what this means. We can't lose hope. We have to do everything we can to complete the trials, avenge our family, and then find a way to bring them back. Ye Ming looked up at Tang San, his eyes filled with determination. You're right, third brother. We're on a time crunch. We have to use every second to complete the trials and improve our strength. The situation on the mainland is turbulent right now. If we don't hurry, the Spirit Hall and those beasts will start a war and slaughter everyone. Ye Ming looked at Seahorse Douluo and said seriously, please, take us to the first trial location. We can't waste any more time. Chapter 97, The way to reduce your own pain makes your brother suffer. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Chapter 97, The best way to kill the pain. Make your buddy suffer. Whoa there. Rushing into it. Seahorse Douluo blinked, surprised. No rest for the weary, huh? He'd activated the Seahorse Holy Pillar a bunch of times, taking shock after shock. His brain was starting to feel fried, and this was the first day these guys had even set foot on Poseidon Island. With everything happening, you'd think they'd want to chill for a bit. Instead, they were already gearing up for the next round of the Poseidon assessment. Even a title Douluo needed a breather. Ye Ming had just gotten everyone fired up and ready to roll, so he sure didn't want Seahorse Douluo dousing that flame. If they followed the original storyline, it would take Tang San and the others 4 years to ace the Poseidon Island assessment. No way he was wasting that kind of time, he was there to grab the loot. What Dai Mubai and the others got was their problem, not his. Seriously, senior. No need to say more. We're on a tight schedule. Just point us in the right direction. Then, turning to Tang San and the others, Ye Ming continued, third brother, Xiao Wu still needs to be brought back. We still have to resurrect Uncle and the others. How can we kick back and relax right now? Boss Dai, Zhu Qing, last I heard, the Spirit Hall's got some god-level inheritance brewing too. What do you think will happen to the Star Luo Empire when a god-level powerhouse shows up there? Rong, AO, you haven't forgotten sect leader Ning and Sword Douluo, have you? They're waiting for you to go back and avenge the 7 treasures glazed sect. Finally, he zeroed in on Ma Hongjun, who changed clothes and dragged himself out of the sea, and shouted, Fatty, you want to spend the rest of your life riding in the back seat? You want cousin Qinxiang looking down on you forever? His words hit hard. The Shrek 7 devils were instantly seeing red. A moment of silence hung in the air. Then, everyone, eyes blazing, spoke up, Seahorse Senior, please, take us to the first assessment. Seahorse Douluo was speechless. Suddenly, it clicked. He understood why these kids were so talented, so driven. They were carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. Alright, your first test, except for Bai Qinxiang, revolves around the Poseidon's light at the base of Poseidon Mountain. Seahorse Douluo sighed, defeated. In that case, follow me. They all nodded and trailed after Seahorse Douluo toward the foot of the mountain. Halfway there, Bai Qinxiang stopped. Fatty, with me, now. Without another word, she spun around and plunged into the nearby woods. Ma Hongjun, confused, looked at the others, scratched his head, and followed. Oscar and Dai Mubai exchanged knowing glances and chuckled. Even Seahorse Douluo wore a curious expression. After a short time, Bai Qinxiang emerged, the yellow mark on her forehead gone, her aura had shifted, her soul power clearly up a level. Behind her, Ma Hongjun, face flushed, ambled out with a dopey grin. Oh, Dai Mubai and Oscar teased, damn, Fatty, what's with the look? Ha ha ha. Spill the beans. What happened back there? Ma Hongjun covered his face and bolted ahead. Bai Qinxiang, expression normal, rejoined the group. Seahorse Douluo smiled to himself, saying nothing, and continued toward Poseidon Mountain. Poseidon Mountain loomed in the center of the island, encircled by a ring of sea. At its peak stood the Poseidon Temple, the heart of Poseidon Island. An hour later, afternoon was already settling in. Guided by Seahorse Douluo, they pushed through a dense forest and finally reached the foot of the mountain. The sight before them stole their breath. Sparkling seawater threw back a rainbow of colors. Enclosed by the sea, a small island rose from the water. About 500 meters tall, it radiated a soft, golden glow. This glow wasn't from the sun, but from the island itself. Perched on the summit, a structure that looked like it was carved from pure white jade shimmered in the light. This was the Poseidon Temple, the epicenter of the island's power. Seahorse Douluo gazed up at the temple, his voice hushed with reverence. Poseidon Island is dedicated to Lord Poseidon. Only those who've passed the purple level assessment or higher are deemed worthy enough to set foot in the temple. Before you lie 1001 steps. This is where your trials begin. If you're ready, you can start now. I'll wait here. But remember, maintain absolute silence on Poseidon Mountain, lest you disturb Lord Poseidon. They turned to where Seahorse Douluo pointed, and there they were, stone steps, extending down from the temple, shimmering in the sunlight like a jade ribbon draped across the mountain. Just as they were about to head over, Seahorse Douluo spoke again. One piece of advice. If you need to bail during the test, retreat quickly. No harm will come to you. The Poseidon's light is the least dangerous part of what's to come. Give it a shot. No need to be shy. Tang San smiled and nodded. Appreciate the advice, senior, but don't wait for us. We have no idea how long this'll take. We brought our own snacks. Seahorse Douluo considered it and nodded. Anything you need, have the Soul Master here let me know. With that, he leaped into the air and vanished. As soon as he was gone, everyone turned toward the ring-shaped sea, eyes burning with anticipation. Wings of thunder sprouted from Ye Ming's back, and he shot toward the other side. Tang San, clutching Xiao Wu, activated the flight skills attached to his blue-silver Emperor Soul Bone and followed. No Seahorse Douluo to deal with this time, so they all reached Poseidon Mountain easily. Those who could fly, flew. Those who couldn't, hitched a ride on Oscar's flying sausage. Only Bai Qinxiang, having already completed her assessment, stayed behind, watching them from afar. Once they were all at the foot of the mountain, Dai Mubai stepped forward. My first test, cross the light of the sea god. You need to climb the first 108 steps to pass. You can quit anytime, and you have 1 year to finish. What about you guys? Zhu Zhuqing, Oscar, and Ma Hongjun all chimed in. Their assessments were the same. Ning Rongrong, however, looked glum. I thought I'd be the same as you, but nope. I need to climb 136 steps. Guess that's the difference between the top-level assessment and the black-level assessment. Even Tang San, usually unflappable, couldn't help but shoot them a jealous glance. He managed a wry smile. My first assessment, cross double the light of the sea god. I need to climb the first 333 steps, and I also have 1 year. Ma Hongjun gaped. Double? Dude, you have to climb almost 3 times as many steps as us. Oscar glanced at Xiao Wu in Tang San's arms and said, my guess is Xiao Wu's share was also added to Xiao San. Hey, what about you? Same as San. Ye Ming checked his mental notes, and a weird expression crept across his face. My first test, cross quadruple the light of the sea god. I need to climb all 1001 steps, and I have 1 month. Whoa, everyone sucked in a breath, staring at Ye Ming with pity. Oscar walked over, clapped him on the shoulder, and said solemnly, guess the strong get treated differently. Dude, I believe in you. You got this. Even though he was serious, he couldn't hide the grin creeping across his face. Not that he was gloating, exactly. It was more like a nod of respect for Ye Ming. Deep down, they all knew Ye Ming would crush it. Tang San's gloomy expression vanished when he heard Ye Ming's assessment. What was the best way to kill the pain? Easy. See your buddy going through something even worse than you are. Ye Ming shrugged. Alright, Boss Dai, third brother, how about we test out this sea god's light first? That the stairs were right there. If they all tried together, they'd get a better idea of what they were up against. The three of them started toward the stairs. Dai Mubai and Tang San charged forward, relying on speed, while Ye Ming strolled casually toward the steps, taking them one at a time. Wham! Bam! Dai Mubai and Tang San smashed into the sea god's light and were instantly thrown back. Ye Ming, however, stepped onto the stairs without a flinch and kept climbing. What just happened? The others crowded around. Felt like running into a brick wall. Dai Mubai said, watching Ye Ming climb. The sea god's light must be blocking the way. Swish, a blue-silver emperor vine shot from Tang San's hand, striking the sea god's light. The next instant, it snapped back, hurtling toward Tang San. Anticipating this, Tang San sent out another vine to intercept the rebounding attack. He watched Ye Ming descend and figured it out. Guess you can't use skills while climbing, or you get slammed. Ye Ming, backing down, added, no attacking, but you can use skills like amplification and body defense. The light on the steps puts a ton of pressure on you. Each step is a struggle. By the fifth step, even a level 30 Soul Master would be giving it their all. A hush fell over the group. Ma Hongjun groaned. Guess we're stuck grinding it out here. At this rate, it'll take us forever to adapt to this pressure, let alone finish the assessment. Slow. Ye Ming raised an eyebrow. He didn't have time for slow. Okay, the light could help them grow. But he could take his time growing. Tang San and the others, with their 1-year deadline, couldn't. So, what if he accelerated Tang San and company? What if they gained less? Not his problem. No. He cut in, we can't drag our feet. We're in a hurry. Don't worry. I've got a way to help you guys ace this first test. Fast. Chapter 98. You guys just need to speed through, I will take my time. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dude, what's your plan? Everyone was scratching their heads, confused. Ye Ming, cool as a cucumber, replied, don't sweat it. Just stick with me, and I'll get us through this assessment, no problem. Right now, everyone's pumped up to ace this thing thanks to Ye Ming's confidence, but Tang San and Oscar, those two were deep thinkers. If they had their way, they'd drag out the assessment to level up their skills, but Ye Ming? He's all about seizing the moment. He says he's got a plan, let's roll with it. Ma Hongjun said without a care. What's he gonna do, sabotage us? Dai Mubai and the others chimed in, yeah, makes sense. Ye Ming took the first step. The insane pressure of the trial seemed like a walk in the park to him. The Poseidon's light couldn't even slow him down. He was already 3 steps up before Dai Mubai and the crew followed. Tang San still felt like something was off, but he still dragged Xiao Wu into the Poseidon's light zone and stepped onto the stairs. Everyone was wondering what Ye Ming was up to when, bam, moonlight ribbons poured out of him, wrapping everyone up. Suddenly, all that crazy pressure from the Poseidon's light just melted away. It was like a total chill pill. The Baoyue colorful clothes goo was his original goo from his first acupoint. For a rank 4 goo insect, its defenses were top tier, but the kicker? It could share those defenses with others. Dai Mubai and Tang San felt it the most. They were practically getting stonewalled by the Poseidon's light, but now, wrapped in the moonlight ribbons, the pressure was like, less than 1% of what it was. Ye Ming wasn't even using the Baoyue neon clothes goo's defense on himself. The pressure from the stairs was a joke. He strolled on, while the Shrek 7 devils cruised up the mountain like it was nothing. Soon, Ye Ming hit the 100th step. The pressure here was starting to make his legs work a little, but he still looked chill and kept moving. Before long, he blew past the 108 steps, where the black level assessment ended. Almost instantly, the pale gold mist around Dai Mubai, Zhu Zhuqing, Oscar, and Ma Hongjun vanished. Black energy floated up from the 5 and 6-pointed star marks on their foreheads, forming a black light curtain in front of them. The light curtain shattered, turning into black sparks that shot back into their foreheads. First test of the 5th/6th black level exam, time travel, Poseidon's light, passed. Soul power increased by 1 level. that the voice echoed in their heads at the same time. Dai Mubai and the crew felt like they could breathe again. The insane pressure from the Poseidon's light was gone. My soul power went up a level. Oscar yelled. This reward is awesome. Zhu Zhuqing and the others were freaking out too. It felt so good to breeze through the test and get that sweet soul power boost. Let's back up so we're not slowing down, my brother. Dai Mubai said, retreating to the bottom of the mountain. Ma Hongjun and the others followed suit, heading back down to the base. Ning Rongrong and Tang Sen exchanged looks, buzzing with excitement. A soul power level up for the black level? That's wild. The rewards for their top-level assessment and the 9th Poseidon exam were gonna be epic. With Ye Ming still guarding them, they pressed on. Soon, Ning Rongrong hit the 136th step and nailed her first assessment. Red light exploded around her, the crazy red 7-pointed star on her forehead glowing like a supernova. Waves of red light surged down, hugging her body. The red light curtain shot out from the 7-pointed star, shattered silently, and formed a red halo that dropped from the sky, wrapping Ning Rongrong and sinking into her body. First of the top 7 tests, time travel, enhancement, Poseidon's light, passed. Soul power increased by 1 level, soul ring skills power increased by 500 years. As soon as the voice stopped, the pressure from the Poseidon's light on Ning Rongrong disappeared. She was riding high from the sweet reward. A grin spread across her face. Thanks, brother Ye Ming. And with that, she backed up and floated back down to the foot of the mountain. Ye Ming's face was blank, like he couldn't even feel the Poseidon's light. He went full throttle with the Baoyuan neon clothes goo, buffing Tang San and Xiao Wu, and kept climbing. When he hit 200 steps, the pressure spiked hard, and his real energy started burning faster, but with 98% of the true essence. This was peanuts for him, not to mention, he had the 4th turn Heavenly Yuan Baojun Lotus in his acupoint, constantly churning out true energy. Walking on the steps bathed in the Poseidon's light, Ye Ming felt the soul power in his body surging. Even the vibration of true energy in the air was buzzing. Under this kind of pressure, his skills were leveling up faster, but this was only 200 steps. The pressure above would be even crazier, which meant even faster gains. Tang San, with Xiao Wu in his arms, watched Ye Ming power up. He had to ask, brother, how you holding up? If you're getting burned out, we can chill and try again later. Ye Ming turned around, giving a casual smile. Don't sweat it, San. This pressure's nothing. Mu Bai and the gang already aced the first test, so let's get you and Xiao Wu through it too. And with that, he turned on the afterburners, leaving everyone in the dust. Tang San ditched the doubt and hustled to keep up with Ye Ming. At 300 steps, the sea god's light cranked up the heat, and even Ye Ming had to pause for a second, but he shook it off and kept on climbing. Just past the 333rd step, Tang San, still holding Xiao Wu, finally made it too. A red light burst from Xiao Wu's forehead, a flash of pure energy. 7 golden lights materialized in the air, blazing like mini-suns. The light rained down, surrounding Tang San and Xiao Wu. In that golden glow, the golden trident on Tang San's forehead exploded with light. The golden glow spread like veins from his forehead, flowing through his whole body. The golden curtain shattered in front of Tang San, turning into golden sparks. At the same time, the light flowed from the golden trident into his body. Crossing, double, sea god's light, test passed. The first test is over. The sea god's affinity increases by 5%, with a current total of 5%. A weird blue light blinked between Tang San's eyebrows, and then it was gone. At the same time, the red mark on Xiao Wu's forehead flashed like crazy, and a sound echoed in her soul. 1/9 of the top test is completed, and rewards begin to stack. Tang San was shook. No soul power boost. But then it hit him. The 9th test of the sea god was way bigger than the top 7, so the final payout would be insane. For now, the reward was just in storage. Tang San told Ye Ming, our test is done, keep killing it up there. Then he scooped up Xiao Wu and rocketed back down to Dai Mubai and the others. Ye Ming just nodded, stashed his Baoyuan Ishangu, and locked eyes on the sea god temple above. He revved up and went wild on the steps. 400, 430, 470, 500, 600. In just a few breaths, he crushed hundreds of steps and hit the 700th. Dai Mubai and the crew were speechless. Dude, you're a beast. No wonder the test wants him to climb the 1001st step. At this speed, he might just crush it today. That they stared up at Ye Ming, mouths hanging open in total shock. Ye Ming finally had to slow down. Past the 700th step, the pressure was starting to get insane. But his face was chill. Right now, he wasn't even using the Baoyuan Yishang Gu to help. He wanted to see how far he could go on his own. 800, 840, 890, 900. By the time he hit the 900th step, every step was costing him sweat, and he was still doing it raw, no buffs. He was also double-tasking, firing up the 5th turn Thunder Dragon Power Gu in his second acupoint and blending it into his body. Right now, Ye Ming was only a 4th level intermediate Gu master. After maxing out the 4th level Tyrant Bear Power Gu and the 4th level Flying Elephant Power Gu, blending the 5th level Thunder Dragon Power Gu was slower than molasses, but with the pressure from the Sea God, the rate of refining and blending was skyrocketing. If he went at his old pace, it would have taken half a year to fuse with the Thunder Dragon Power Gu. Now, he only needed a month. At the 950th step, Ye Ming was toast. He finally popped the Treasure Moon Colorful Clothes Gu for a buff. Even then, every step was a freakin' struggle. Go, brother Ye Ming. You got this, man. Hang in there, dude. The shouts from Dai Mubai and the gang echoed, pumping him up. Ye Ming chuckled to himself. You guys want a speedrun? I'll take it slow and steady. He was gonna milk this month for all it was worth. Chapter 99 Little White Girl Angel 9 Tests. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In front of the Poseidon temple, Bo Saishi, scepter in hand, quietly watched the figure climbing the steps below. She sighed softly, murmuring, I let short-sightedness cloud my judgment. This first trial is the easiest way to improve your strength. I hope you don't live to regret your decisions. Lord Poseidon, bless him. Turning, she returned to the Poseidon temple. Ye Ming had reached the 960th step, only 41 remained. Confident he could complete the trial, he paused. Suddenly, Poseidon's light slammed him back, sending him tumbling into the ring sea at the foot of the mountain. Brother! Ye Ming! Dai Mubai and the others cried out. Instantly, Tang San used his blue-silver emperor vines to pull Ye Ming back to the platform. Oscar quickly offered a recovery sausage to replenish Ye Ming's strength. After a moment, the color returned to Ye Ming's pale face. He shook his head, managing a wry smile. The closer you get to the top, the greater the pressure. After 900 steps, even a title Douluo would struggle. Sorry, I'm holding you back. Ning Rongrong frowned. Brother Ye Ming, what are you talking about? We only passed because of your help. Besides, we all believe you can reach the top within a month. That's right. Oscar clapped Ye Ming on the shoulder. Don't say stuff like that again. Our second trial is to break through the ring blockade. We have to cross the sea without killing any sea soul beasts. I saw a ton of demon great white sharks in that water. It won't be easy. And we only have a year. We can wait for you here. Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun exchanged glances and nodded, having received the same trial. Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong's trials were similar, though Ning Rongrong's was a bit harder because she had a top-tier assessment. Tang San managed a wry smile. Oscar's right, it's not easy. My vast sea barrier is useless, so I couldn't sneak through underwater. And the purple demon eyes show there's 100,000-year soul beast down there, the island's guardian, the demon great white shark king. He shook his head. The worst part is, I can't use any of my soul ring abilities. Everyone reacted with alarm. Dai Mubai shrugged. The golden light above blocks flight. We'll just wait for Ye Ming. Ma Hongjun clapped his hands. Exactly. Once he finishes the first trial, we'll crush this second one as a team. You still doubt him? That brought smiles to everyone's faces. They knew Ye Ming's strength. He'd led them through the first trial without breaking a sweat. Listening to them, Ye Ming stood. Thanks, guys. I'll pass the first trial ASAP, then we'll tackle the second one together. That with the decision made, they settled in at the foot of Poseidon Mountain. Days turned into weeks. Though the mountain base was bustling, the Ring Sea teemed with demon great white sharks, giving the Shrek 7 a hard time. Finally, the 100,000-year-old demon great white shark king flicked its tail, launching the Shrek 7 back to shore. Bai Qinxiang would then bring them food from outside. Bo Saishi's special permission allowed her to travel through the Ring Sea with supplies. The Shrek 7 collapsed at the foot of Poseidon Mountain, watching the figure still climbing the steps. Everyone worked hard to improve. Huge waves crashed in the Ring Sea. The demon great white shark king leaped into the air. Gray-blue light shone from its body. The light shrank its form, turning it into a tall girl beside the Shrek 7, about Tang San's height. Her figure was perfect. A white leather jacket outlined her curves, making her incredibly alluring. Long, gray-blue hair cascaded down her back, completing her beauty. Her eyes were gray-blue, her fair skin had a hint of the same color. A high nose and sharp features gave her an exotic look. The Shrek 7 showed no surprise. Oscar watched the girl in white walk straight to Xiao Wu and sit, staring blankly up at the figure on the mountain. Little Bai, we're practically friends now. Could you please be a little gentler? Every time we break through the Ring Sea, we need a break before we can recover. Xiao Bai settled next to Xiao Wu. Don't even think about it. It's the Lord of the Sea's will. We examiners can't disobey. Hearing the familiar words, Oscar sighed and watched the climber. Ma Hongjun was excited. Ye Ming's almost there. It's only been 2 weeks, and he's already at the 980th step. Another 2 weeks, and he'll finish. Then we can get through your trial, Miss Xiao Bai. Xiao Bai chuckled. Think it's that easy? That she shook her fist. I'll knock you all down. On the mountain, Ye Ming refined the Thunder Dragon Power Goo while channeling the Golden True Essence in the 2 empty holes to strengthen their walls. The pressure from the Sea God's light was aiding his cultivation. He'd refined over half of the Thunder Dragon Power Goo, and in another 2 weeks, he'd master the 5th level Goo. He was also close to becoming a 4th level high-level Goo master. Wuhuan Hall, Douluo Hall. The Douluo Hall sat atop the Wuhuan Hall's sacred mountain. Smaller than the Pope's Hall, it honored all titled Douluos. Inside stood a 10-meter-tall, golden 6-winged angel statue, wielding an angel's sword. Qian Renshuan knelt before the statue. Her left shoulder, smashed by Ye Ming, was fully healed. Golden light surged, and a figure appeared between her and the statue. It solidified, radiating golden light. The angel statue's sword erupted with golden flames, filling the hall with holiness. The figure was Qian Daolu, chief worshipper of the Spirit Hall and master of the Douluo Hall. Saving you cost the Spirit Hall nearly a decade of resources, Qian Daolu said, but that's nothing. More importantly, I sensed weakness in Bibi Dong. Do you know what that means? Her heart may have fallen to darkness, granting her favor with an evil god. Qian Renshua looked up, blank. She didn't understand. Since her recovery, she often recalled Ye Ming's punch in the Tiando Palace. Qian Daolu continued, Xiao Xue, I fear I made a mistake. Bibi Dong is beyond my control. Now, the angel clan's hope rests on you. He raised a hand, and golden flames from the statue's sword descended, engulfing Qian Renshue. The flames swirled, lifting Qian Renshue to her feet. 9 golden light curtains materialized before her. Qian Daoliu's eyes shone with intensity. 9 angel trials. The angel's 9 trials have finally appeared. Qian Renshue blinked. Grandpa, I don't understand. Qian Daolu smiled. 8 light screens would make you the next lord of Douluo Palace. But there are 9. Don't ask. I'll tell you when I should. From now on, you must complete the 9 angel trials. I'll be with you always. Completing them will transform your strength. Yes. Qian Renshue nodded, thinking, after these trials, I'll avenge that punch. Tang Ye Ming, ***. Wait for me, ***.